I'm Lee Camp, and this is the Moment of Clarity show, coming to you live from... Where the fuck are we? Today's topic, billionaires. We love them. They're viewed as the pinnacle of success, right? But there's no reason, rationally, we should be okay with or admire the fact that the Koch brothers have $44 billion, or that the 6 heirs of the Walmart fortune have $100 billion, the same amount of wealth as the bottom 40% of America, 125 million people. These people are psychopaths. They're not any more fit for society than the guy who kidnaps neighborhood dogs and has them lick peanut butter off his balls. In fact, they're actually less qualified for society because at least Mr. Nutterbutter is making dogs happy. We don't respect anyone else who collects $1 million of something. If you're one of those ladies who has 50,000 shoes, people put you in a special home. And even if you don't judge those people harshly, you still don't take advice from them. How long would you keep listening to someone who's like, listen, you should quit your job and just snowboard 24/7 because I have 15,000 human teeth in my garage, all obtained legally. And if you ask me, they're the only way to power the spaceship. So why do we behave differently when someone collects 1 billion pieces of green paper with Alexander Hamilton's fugly mug on them? And these people almost never think they have enough. The Koch brothers are in their 70s with $44 billion and yet spend all day, every day, scheming ways to get their hands on your Social Security because, and here's really the important point, all right? They're fucking psychopaths! We need to break ourselves with this irrational and nonsensical idea that they deserve our respect or admiration, our reverence or appreciation. We should view them the same as the people on the TV show Hoarders, all right? No one walks into one of those houses with his 8 years worth of empty ice cream containers. No one walks in and goes, wow, you're really good at this. You must work very hard. So this segment is called Hate Mail. My friend Henry is going to read the hate mail for this episode. Thanks for coming down here, Henry.
You're welcome.
Let's see what we got.
Hey, asshat, how about Andrew Carnegie? He manufactured the world's best quality steel, sold it at the cheapest price, paid his workforce triple wages and his manager $1 million per year, today equivalent to $1 billion. Then when he sold up his steel empire, probably what your dildos are made out of, for a mega fortune, he gave half of that vast sum to the workers who made it possible and used the other half for public libraries, etc. I guess he was one of your psychopaths, you bag of rancid farts.
Bag of rancid farts. It's the worst kind. I don't think that, like, being a fairly horrible corporate leader and then giving all your money away at the end counts as being a wonderful person. Furthermore, he was involved in the Homestead strike, which was one of the bloodiest labor strikes of that time, and he ran off to Scotland so he didn't have to deal with it himself. So it's not like he was Mr. Peaches and Cream, right?
Right.
Are you a Carnegie fan?
No, actually. If you spent your life being a jerk, how can you be anything else, even if you give all your money away at the end? No matter who you help, you're still a jerk.
Sounds like Henry agrees with me, asshat. This next segment we like to call America's Most Asshole, where we show you the faces and name the names of the biggest criminals in the country. You've heard of heads of state. These are your heads of dick. And as you might have already guessed, today it goes to the Koch brothers.
Motherfucker! Asshole! 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 Asshole!
With $44 billion, they are two of the richest people in the world. And how did they get most of their money? The good old-fashioned way, by working with their hands. They used their hands to grab, cheat, and steal every chance they got. They've had federal indictments against them that have magically disappeared, and they fund countless right-wing front groups and think tanks. They have their hands in more politicians than a DC madam. So for those reasons, for shoving their coke where it doesn't belong, the Koch brothers are this week's America's Most Asshole.
Asshole!
To learn more about this topic, check out the book Billionaires and Ballot Bandits by Greg Palast, the best investigative journalist this side of Alpha Centauri. Fuck it. Let's go talk to him.
I am busy, but I'm trying not to be. I'm trying to take a couple months off and do things like fix up the house. And some writers have writer's block. I need a block. Well, I actually began tracking the brothers Koch about 18 years ago as a private investigator. There was oil that was being pilfered from the Osage Indian Reservation in Oklahoma, a dirt poor place. And and it turns out Koch oil trucks were skimming a couple barrels of oil from all the little stripper wells owned by these dirt poor Indians who are living in trailers. They make a couple bucks a week from selling this oil. Koch was skimming it. And what the interesting part was, the FBI was recording this. I had the information. We had transcripts, wires. And when we followed the Koch trucks back to their loading dock, we found out that there was a guy telling them, I want more overage. Now, overage is the term for stealing it. I want more. I want you to steal more.
That's an excellent euphemism. Overage. I like it.
Right, overage. The white guy telling the truck drivers to steal more oil from the Indians is named Charles Koch. These guys, they're not really in the oil business. They're in the influence and politics business. And I don't want people to think that they are partisan, even though they tend to back Republicans.
Right.
David Koch ran against Ronald Reagan, calling him a socialist.
There you go again.
But then he wanted to run for governor of Kansas as a Democrat. And one of the reasons...
that great socialist Reagan.
Yeah, so one of the reasons he was well protected, he hired Bob Strauss, who was chairman of the Democratic Party. And that wasn't good enough. He decided that the Democrats were a threat because they believed in regulation. FDR, you have to regulate.
I've heard of that.
Like you can't just poison people. So he found a couple guys to run for president. Took them out of nowhere. A guy from Arkansas, a guy from Tennessee. No one ever heard of the guy from Arkansas, Clinton. But gave them a platform, created something called the Democratic Leadership Council, which was founded by $100,000 from the Koch brothers. So they were backing, in the Clinton-Dole race, they backed Bob Dole. They gave him $100,000 too, but he had to give it back because it was an illegal contribution. He got caught.
Mr. President, what do you say to Senator Dole's point that this election is about keeping one's word?
This sounds a lot like a Bill Hicks joke, where it's one guy with a puppet on each hand, and the American people go, I like the puppet on the left hand. I like the puppet on the right hand.
Well, listen, why bet on a horse if you can buy the whole goddamn racetrack?
So to broaden this a little, why does it seem like so much evil in the world is done by the billionaires and the multimillionaires? Like, I feel like you don't hear a lot about, like, Hobo Joe wreaking havoc on the American system.
Well, two things. One, because evil is fucking profitable. No one steals votes to steal an election. You steal votes for the same reason you break into a bank, to steal the money. The idea is that you seize control of the levers of government coercion and you put it in your pocket. So you decriminalize your illegal behaviors, and then you use the government to make sure that everyone else pays for it, and the politicians praise you for it. The more you steal, the greater the praise. And if you make more than $1 billion, there's a point at which somewhere between $1 billion and $2 billion in net worth, your job title changes to philanthropist.
Right. Exactly.
And the answer is, it doesn't matter who's going to run in 2016 because Nixon's going to win. He always does.
I'm not a crook.
This may not be a revolution in the traditional sense, but this is a revolution of thought. Americans are tired of greed over good, profitable pollution over people, war for wealth over the welfare of average workers. This is a thought revolution. I'm Lee Camp, and this is Moment of Clarity. So subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Twitter at Lee Camp, follow us on Facebook.